Well, hello. Thank you, and welcome to another show of the Digi Sis in the Digi World. I'm Ina Montgomery of Urban Tech, and I'm excited to be doing this series that I started, I think 2 weeks ago, on talking to Black families. I wanted Black families to have a voice during this COVID time. Because we know that our community is either a second thought or not thought about at all. So Urban Tech wants to kind of step into this space to see what's going on in the homes of Black families and how they're dealing with online learning, homeschooling, spending more time with their kids. Because I've been kind of laughing listening to some of the news reports where seriously, this white parent like last week was saying, I didn't know my kid was the way that he is, because it's like they see them at night, but they don't spend as much time with them. And so he actually wasn't like formally apologizing to the teacher, but he was like, oh, I see the challenges you've been having now in the classroom, because he was not seeing them. But now that he's with his child every day, he could see, and it wasn't anything bad. It was just that his son had a lot of energy that he was not containing, if you will, in the classroom. So I think that's opening a lot of parents' eyes to another side of their kids. What do you say about that, Miss Litzy? Oh, I'm sorry. My guest today, so far, I have Gwendolyn Litzy, Vice Principal at Central High School, who is the proud mother of 3 great kids that she's raising. And so she has the opportunity to be at home and be with her kids and see, I guess, maybe a different side of them. What you got, Miss Litzy?
That's true. So I think there was definitely some unique opportunities that my husband and I faced, both of us working from home and trying to ensure that our kids were getting, the educational, meeting their educational needs at the same time. So this has definitely been an interesting experience. I would definitely say I knew my kids were very active. I think this has definitely made me think of what the educational landscape is going to be going forward. What's it going to look like going forward? So, you know, it's been interesting. It's not, I think, quite a meme, but it's definitely been interesting.
Can you give me the breakdown of the grade levels of your kids, please?
So I have a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader.
Oh, wow. So you're all elementary.
All elementary right now, yes.
Okay.
No, I said 5th grade, 6th grade. I'm sorry. He'll be in the 7th grade next year.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought you had an older kid, but okay.
6th grade. So,
6th grade, right. So I think Miss Kiana McGee is on. Are you there, Kiana?
Yes, my son had to get it on his phone because my phone is broke.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you on the show. We're just getting started. I've done the introduction, and Ms. Litzy just chimed in. So I was asking at first, I was making the comment that I saw a news report, and the guy was saying that he's seen a different side of his kids that he may not have seen before. And so just with being with them all day and then teaching them. So I guess I'll ask that general question to you as well. Have you seen like a different side of your kids while you're working with them?
I wouldn't say a different side of them, because my group, I heard what she was saying as far as her group, her breakdown of her children. My kids are currently, I have a junior, twin 8th graders, a 6th grader, and a 4th grader. And my 4 oldest go to Lincoln, and with 1 in high school, 3 in middle school, and 1 in 4th grade. Wow. The biggest thing that I've seen is like Lincoln Middle set up a really good schedule. So in a lot of Lincoln stuff was already online. So this was not a huge adjustment for them.
Okay.
They already had Chromebooks. They were already using Google Classroom. The only adjustment was the Zoom meetings. But a lot of their assignments was online. I think probably for my youngest, because of the district not passing out the Chromebooks, which we already had a laptop here, but they weren't really prepared or equipped for the elementary setting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the adjustment we had to make is like, seeing and being around them so much with the younger one is that she was a huge distraction to the other kids. So that was the hardest part, is trying to keep her busy while making sure they're getting their lessons, because Lincoln's schedule is very stringent on how they what their expectations of what they expect as far as being in class and all of that.
Okay. So they can monitor the, or they can see like how often the kids are online?
Well, when they're in the Zoom class, the requirement, like right now, my video is off, but like you cannot do that. That is counted as an absence. You have to be actively involved in the class, actively, you know, like she'll like Senora Salas, that teaches Spanish. Like today I overheard, because I got 5 kids. So when you got 4 to 5 Zoom calls going at one time, the
Wow.
overlap. So it's really trying to find the space for everybody to have their equal space to do their work and not be distracted, because this is home, and trying to transition their minds to this is school time and this is, you know, you need to be paying attention. And she was getting on one of the kids because he was playing a video game, and she could tell by looking at the video.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, the level of accountability is, for the most part, and I'll say, I know from my experience with Lincoln, is the same.
Okay.
If you don't come to it, they're going to send an email. Why weren't you in a Zoom call? Just like if you don't come to school, you don't get credit for the work.
Mm-hmm. Can you respond to that as well with your experience, Ms. Litzy?
So with my kids, all of them are pretty tech savvy. I think the Google Classroom, they all go to Garcia, and so it was different for the kids because that's not normally the platform which they give instruction and give assignments. They all still use Already, which they did use in school, so that was the same.
Mm-hmm.
I was very familiar with Google Classroom, so that was sort of easy, you know, for me to help them to get acclimated to what they needed to do. They all have Zooms, but they're at different times and the amount is different. Like my first grader has it twice a week. My third grader has it once a week. And then my sixth grader has a noon check-in every day. So it's sort of the same as Ms. Kiana was saying. They have to be engaged. It's like a discussion type of thing. And so, and the kids really enjoy it because I think they really like seeing each other. And so during that time for me, TV, no tablet, no games, it's none of that. You know, they have that set time where they have to focus on their work and get it done. The school doesn't have a set schedule. They give them assignments and they get it. They have like daily assignments. So I actually like that because I guess I'm more of an out of a box educator myself. I don't believe in just being so stringent with the kids as long as it's done. Most of my kids get it done early, but I don't want to hold them to, okay, you got to have it done between 8 and 9 and all this kind. But they're not as old either. You know, it's sort of one of those things you have to work yourself up to. So the school, I don't think was really prepared to go online, but they made it happen.
Okay. So kind of segueing into a daily schedule, you're saying you're not stringent, but do you have like a routine set up for your kids? I'll let you go first, Ms. Litzy.
Yeah, so what they do is I require them to be up every day by 8. They do their normal hygiene stuff, and then they have breakfast. And so normally by 8:30, 8:45, they'll get started on their lessons. And so either my husband or I will look at their stuff and see exactly what they have to do and make sure that they know what they need to start on. My sixth grader, he's pretty much self-sufficient. He'll go get his assignments done, show us before he submits them. The first and third grader, not so much. So they need like each thing. So, okay, first we're going to do literacy, or first we're going to do math, or, you know, let's do the science lesson. And so that's how we pretty much get that going. And then we do have a standard lunchtime. So normally by like 11:30, they have lunch. and sort of like we don't give them much choice. They have, you know, lunch every day, and it's something different like breakfast. And we go from there, and it just depends on where they are with their work, whether they have to continue it. Aside from that, I've always required my kids to read 30 minutes every day, so they continue that. And they get a review with my husband or myself, and depending on where they are, then they may get a little bit of free time, and that depends. Sometimes they do go out.
Go give me that schedule real quick.
It depends on what's going on.
Okay. And for Ms. Kiana, do you have a daily schedule as well set up with your kids?
Yes, we have a daily schedule, and it was really helpful because Lincoln Prep Middle, they had a very stringent schedule. So I based my schedule around that because this was an adjustment, and that's a continued conversation that we have. daily is to remind them that this is an adjustment, not just for you, but adjustment for us as a family as a whole. Right. So pretty much like hers, we get up, because I have it printed and my son just brought it to me. It's 8 a.m. We wake up, everybody makes beds, get dressed, hygiene. 8:30, you come for breakfast. This is on a good day. It doesn't always flow this way because we do have that flexibility to, adjust and maneuver as need be. 8:45, clean the kitchen. 8:55, prepare for your day. Everybody needs to be in their seats where their designated areas are. They usually call their own areas where they're going to be. So they go sit in the areas, and I want them to be on their laptops, already have it loaded so that we don't have the problem with my laptop. It wouldn't let me in, or I'm in the lobby for the meeting or whatever. And then like Lincoln, like I said, they have it very set, like 9 a.m. to 9:20 is first hour, is a live class. And then from there, they have 20 minutes, 9:20 to 9:40, to where they can do the work that the teacher assigned, or the teacher may stay on. A couple of the classes I've seen where they stay on a little bit longer, and they may assign an assignment and they have the kids do it while they're on the, still in the Zoom. So they still have a 40-minute, and then they have that 5-minute, I guess you would say, passing period. And so with that 5-minute passing period, I allow my, like you can go to the restroom, get some water, maybe if you need to take a walk, or, do something, go outside for a minute, but you need to be back in and seated in time for your next class to start.
Now, what about your younger kids?
I only got one that's in elementary. And so her Zoom class, they assign it in a weeks thing. We have class tag, and class tag has all their assignments. She's sending through there. And so it's also through Google Classroom. So she gets all of her work for the week through there. And then
that comes on Mondays or Fridays or what?
It gets assigned every Monday, and it's due by Friday. And it has a load of work that she has to do. And so we just pace it out. And just like, she said that we still utilize iReady at least an hour a day, as well as with us, we have, she has to get on Zoom twice a week because she has her main teacher. She goes to her homeroom classroom, and then because they break it up, where you do a split where you do learn a language. ELA is in, I think they do 2 subjects, and the other teacher does so many subjects. So then they go in with one teacher one day and another teacher the other day. Okay. And then they get kind of like a recess time where they do the Zoom, where they at least just let the kids just interact amongst themselves. Not the teacher say anything, but they can just kind of catch up on what they're doing, even though the kids are tech savvy and they might have iPods, phones, or whatever, but it gives them a chance to just really see each other's face and, kind of like maybe even somebody whose number you don't have. Yeah. But then we have a set lunch period time, and my kids don't necessarily eat lunch because they be in just 8 at like 8:30 or so. And on those days, like the opposite days, because Lincoln only does Zoom classes on Tuesday and Thursday, with the exception of certain classes. And so my kids I tell them, it's your responsibility to know when your thing is. I'm not going to sit and micromanage that. Right. You're in middle school, high school, you get it. Like my oldest, I don't even do anything with his. He does all his on his own.
Yeah, he's already impressive anyway. Like Miss Litsy's raising her children, so.
Yeah, so he don't, I don't have to do much of anything with him. But as far as the rest of them, like I said, Lincoln Prep has a set time, 11:15 to 11:45 is lunch. And so during that time, what we typically do is whatever you didn't do in the morning, you need to have done, because it all goes into play where after school, you have to do a journal. I have a journal, and I send it to them via text every morning when we get up at 9. And it's a journal topic, and it has to be 1 page long. So like the first one we did, just for example, was how is this, how is the quarantine and COVID-19 affecting you? And so they researched COVID-19. So it's still like an extra homework assignment, almost kind of like that. And that's the way they get their free time. If I had to tell you that if I had to tell you to stay in your area, do anything like that, because I got older kids, I have to tell them, quit interrupting each other. So if you do any of that, then you lose your free time. And so that free time is from 3 to 5, which is a normal time before I get home. And they're just like, maybe I'm not here during that time. So then that free time you would normally have, you don't get it because I am here to watch it now. So that's how we do it. And it breaks it on down even further into the afternoon, like up to bedtime, family time, outside, all that. So we have that schedule. We try to stick to it as much as possible.
Okay. Miss Litsy, can you comment on that? Like with your structure with your kids, and I don't know if you have discipline issues or not, how do you recess time? How are you handling all that stuff?
So we don't have a set recess time. They do go outside. We have dogs, the two fur babies, and so they are able to take them out and walk. And sometimes they're playing and all that kind of stuff, behind the house. But that's something they do after lunch. And then you can do it again at about 4 or 5-ish. Normally they're done by that time. I haven't had any discipline issues per se. The only thing, and it's funny because Ms. Kiana brought it up, as much as I'll say, like, DJ, you go down and sit here and pay, you sit here, conjugating together, and I'm just like, okay, back on task. So we normally keep the first grade closer to me because I have a little bit more flexibility when I'm so that's we're I want to consider us a tight-knit family. You've met my kids. We're not in school, my kids are with me. So them being around each other and being with my husband and I, like, that's normal for them. They're like, let's watch this movie together and do this, and we have that all the time,
right.
Always together. And so us having our kids with us was not anything out of the norm. Even the ones at that age where he loves to play games, but he still loves to be around his parents. So that's good, and everything else. So we're really sort of not that on a schedule in the afternoons or whatnot. They do go to bed at their normal bedtime, which is between 8:30 and 9, because they get up at the, at the hour they get up every day just to make sure they have enough sleep and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
Strict with, we dinner at this time, bedtime. I'm like her, if I have to tell you too much, then you won't have time at all. That little hour and a half will be gone. But we haven't had any of those issues since they've been out.
Okay, so what are we, 5 weeks, no, 6 weeks, how many weeks are we into this on online learning?
Is it 7?
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about, it sounds like things are going generally well for both of you. Would you still say there's any, like, 1 or 2 maybe challenges that you're having, either with the school, related to the school or related to the home setting? Anything there?
Issue that I had initially was my 3rd grader. The way that his teachers would basically set her Google Classroom up was really confusing. And when I did that, my son was like, "Mom, I don't have any work." And then when you go on there, it wasn't very user friendly for him. And so I brought that to her attention. And that's one of the things I can say is the teachers have been very responsive, and she went in and reorganized it. And he was actually able to be more independent as it relates to him getting into his Google Classroom and doing his work. So other than that, everything's been fine.
Okay.
I would say probably the biggest obstacle for us is not even related to, like, the schoolwork. Like I said, like, as far as they, it was already used to it, so it wasn't that big of an adjustment. I think the bigger issue we had is our internet at our house. Because not only is it my 5, but I have a cousin that also lives with us that's 15, and she goes to Hogan. And so, and I failed to mention her earlier, is you got 6 kids, and then I might have Zoom meetings as well. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on Wi-Fi, so that it would kick us out of the meetings or my meetings, or kick us out of what they're doing. And so then we gotta apologize. I'm sorry. We're my internet went out, and so, like, it just, that's really hard because we have a really fast internet. That's something we never experienced before because our internet has always been really well. But just having that many people, like, telling the kids, turn your phone off, get your phone off the house Wi-Fi. Even for myself, get off the Wi-Fi so that we can be able to do the work that we're trying to do or whatever. But that's probably one of the hardest things. And I think it was an outage over here last week, and, like, my kids was all kicked out. And so the teachers sometimes weren't as lenient. They're like, thinking that kids are jacking off. And so then I have to send an email like, no, they're not making it up. They legit couldn't get, the internet kicked everybody off. And I we have, like, TV. Now everything's digital as far as like, we don't even have regular TV or the boxes or nothing. So when that went out, I mean, even though they don't allow to watch TV, we're not watching TV. We don't have anything going during the day that utilizes our Wi-Fi because of that.
Right.
So.
Okay. And what about if you were to talk to another parent, give me some best practices, like your top 2 on working at school with your kids? I'm sorry, working at home with your kids.
Right. So I think for me, and I think me and Ms. Kiana already figured it out, it's the schedule, you know, is keeping them on that schedule. You know, I'm like, the schedule to me is a saving grace. And I think really setting those boundaries when it's academic time and letting them know, like doing 8:30 or 9 or, 11, 15:30, whatever lunchtime is, we're focusing strictly on academics. And so they understand it. Although we may be at home, we're going to be in a learning type of mindset. And so that's the main thing. And I think that having the different areas so they don't distract each other is good.
I would concur with her as far as I think I've always been a very big person on like schedule and routine because it helps me function. I gotta have that structure even for myself. So it's not just about them having structure, it's about me having structure. And then also I think the biggest thing for me that was the obstacle was at first me going into it, my mind was that they go to school at 7 in the morning, they don't get out till 4. So me trying to make sure they have that, be like I was calling teachers, if like more or less my fourth grader was, what are y'all learning in math? What are y'all this? So I can bounce off of what she was teaching in class and I could pick up because I was like so afraid that she was going to be behind. But I had to get out of my own panic, my own manic phase and be like, this is not just affecting my kid. This is not Kansas City. This is not Missouri. This is nationwide. This is an issue for all parents and understand that, just if it's 2 hours a day and you got good 2 hours of work done, that's good. Because right now we're in a pandemic. We're in a crisis. We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what the next steps are. So I can't feed that negative energy or have that anxiety with my kids about it. And it created, because we're not going anywhere. We're stuck in the house all day.
Right.
I mean, like I just had to talk to my kids today because they were, like they like to play outside. Like we had a neighbor, we had never even met the neighbor. I mean, we met them, but we didn't, we would speak, but the kids never played together, but they got bored enough the way they start playing every day. They outside all day together after, once they get done with school. And so, I mean, those are the many positives that came out of it, but just keeping them in mind that, this is not the best time that we've ever had, but we're going to make the best of it that we can. So just keeping that positive outlook on it.
Right.
Can
you guys tell me if you've had to use like flashcards or outside resources, especially with the new material or the new content that may be presented to your child/student to help them understand whatever concept or something? Are you using any other online resources or going to the Dollar Tree and getting some, what are you doing? Or are you just kind of handling it and managing it yourself?
If Google if they get clickbait reimbursement, I am the queen of Google. You better go ask Google. Like,
okay. And in the flashcard thing for sure for my first grader, definitely, so you can always reference back to her. She's in the sight word, phase. And so we have a stack like that thick of just sight words that she's going through. And once you got those done and we have more, I already had a bunch of learning material, I guess just to be an educator myself, a bunch of learning material at the house for the kids and stuff. We didn't really need anything, but I did get my 2 sons a Scribe account, which is like an online books.
Okay.
And they also do audio books, and I use it, and my husband uses it too. And we all love to read, and so we let them have their own account now. So.
And I thought about what she just said. One of the other things is, I didn't even think about it when we was first saying it. One of the things I'm really big on is the bridge books that you buy like for the summer. And I had a couple of the bridge books here. So that kind of was a filler or a buffer as well as the KCPS packet that they sent out. So like that was what I would utilize, or, like if they didn't understand something, like I said, the only one that would really apply to is my 4th grader, whereas my 6th grader, it's like today she asked me a math problem. And being honest, I'm like, it's going to take me about 10, 20 minutes. I'm going to have to Google that. We're going to have to look on YouTube to see an example. Did your teacher give an example? Because I even suggested to the administrators at Lincoln Prep, I'm like, because I seen this when I did social work with a kid in Blue Springs School District. The particular kid I was working with, he he had fell behind, but he was a really good student. And the teacher, what she did was she would record her math lessons and made a YouTube station or channel, and the kids could go on there, even if it was just you was in class and you might need to re-go over the concept or whatever it is. And so, you know, I suggested that to them. And so even with Hale Cook, the teachers, they do a lot of YouTube videos for their like PLTW or what is it? Not Project Lead the Way. I'm trying to think, what do they call it in the elementary setting? No, they don't call it Project Lead the Way. iSparks. So iSparks, like Miss Chauvin, she does YouTube videos, and they have assignments that they have to submit to Miss Chauvin. So, you know, it's a lot of resources. And I think it was another free, I can't think of it right now, that one of the teachers gave, my daughter's other teacher gave for reading Epic Books. That's what we got. Epic Books for free online books or whatever. So, like, I don't use the flashcards, but I am a queen of YouTube. What is that? The public broadcast station, PBS, they have like shows. And so I go on there and find those that's relative to like my 8th graders. They're doing Industrial Revolution right now. So then we go on there and we find it. And one of the things I've always challenged my kids to, you know, make it applicable to them is anytime you're learning something in history, ask them how that would have impacted you as a Black man. Right. How would that have, what would this, because it makes it more relative to you. How would you be able to understand it? Because you understand it better if you can identify with it. So that's something that, you know, I tell my kids always to challenge the teachers. So what was this like for a Black man this time? Because that will help you understand way better. Right.
Also, too, to piggyback on that, what I've had my kids doing just as a supplement is, you know, finding the different documentaries on like Netflix and the Disney Plus, because they have some really good ones. They love animals and stuff. So I had them doing, watching those and writing questions and stuff like that. And it's funny because the 1st grader, she has some really interesting questions after she watches those documentaries. And so I think that's it. You can learn in capacity is basically, you know, the way you work that out.
So with us not knowing the end game, meaning, you know, when will schools go back? Because I'm even hearing now tentative fall, that nobody knows because there's not even a cure. They're not even near a cure. Are you guys, I probably know the answer, but is this something you can continue as a family, as a household to do on homeschooling?
Sure. I think it's something that I'm able to do. I'm definitely willing to do it. Just like Ms. Kiana said, I'm not ever going to let my kids not make sure that they're, you know, educationally sound. And so, you know, I'll definitely continue to do what I need to do to make sure that whenever they go back, that they're where they need to be. So.
Right. And I think in some cases, because I know another parent was saying their child is further along of their grade level. I think somebody mentioned grade level expectations, looking to see what's expected, and they've already surpassed that just with this concentrated time and focus at home without, you know, all the class distractions and the class behavior and all the other kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be interesting to see once kids go back where they're going to actually land. And I think the parents are going to have to be the advocate in that case to say, no, my child has mastered, you know, 4th, 5th grade, whatever. They need to move on to the next. So anyway, Miss Kiana, your thoughts on that? You ready to go as far as you need to? Uh-oh, did you muted yourself, Kiana?
I forgot I had it muted. I'm sorry. The thing for me is the difference between now and in the future, if I were to know that they were not going to, you know, go back, I could more prepare myself. Whereas this time it was kind of like in March after spring break, we kind of thought maybe, or we didn't know. Right. I would do more investigative work, like, because I was on the Desi website looking at Common Core, looking up all kinds of stuff, because I did not want my child to be behind. And when I let go of some of that, you know, anxiety, and just was like, okay, just go ahead. But moving forward, I think that, you know, it would be, you know, I think I could do it pretty well. And I think if they continue with, especially the way Lincoln Middle has done it, with doing a YouTube video, and then they check in with the with Zoom. I mean, I think it's definitely you know, a plausible thing that can happen. You know, the only thing that is probably would be more complicated or more difficult would be like my oldest son, who's in IB courses, who's going to be a senior. So that's a little bit, you know, different. Like he was going for, you know, for the still about literacy. So, you know, it's different things that, you know, require a little bit more in-person type stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, ladies, any final comments or thoughts? We're at the end of our time here. Any closing comments, suggestions, advice? What you guys got?
I just think as a parent, you know, with kids that definitely you don't want them to ever fall behind. For me, it was just important to be flexible. So my thing is give them what they need, and then, you know, we'll work out the rest, you know, as it comes up, and not to just be, as I said earlier, when I'm talking about stringent, you know, I don't want them to feel like we have to do anything from 8:30 to 4:30. You know, that's too much. You know, I've always been that type of person, but if they give me what they need during that time, then I'm like, here you go. You can have your time and really enjoy it, because I want them to still enjoy being with me as a parent. And well, say if I need something academically, I can always go to mom or dad and get it.
Right. Okay. You're doing a lot of moving around, Kiana. Go ahead.
I know, because I was actually about to leave, but, you know, my phone's messed up, so I had to use my son's phone, so I had to leave it here. And my kids just walked in. I was trying to tell them to be quiet. But as far as any advice, I mean, I just think that the biggest thing would be, it's like we've always been taught, just, you know, especially people of color, is that, you know, we make the best lemonade out of the lemon that we have. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're adding a little honey, we're adding a little bit of this, and we're figuring out the right ingredients. We're moving what doesn't need to be made. We're tasting and see if it needs to be something different and need to be added. And so every day, I mean, like I came up with that schedule, and, you know, that was initially the Monday through Friday schedule, but they don't have Zoom calls, all those calls on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I adjusted. Right. And, you know, being flexible, that, I mean, I guess that's the most important thing, is to be flexible during this time, to be able to, you know, so it could be not necessarily a sad time for them. You know, it's going to be, you know, obviously they miss their friends, but they can overall look at it as looking at the family time, the bonding. We've been going on bike rides. We've been running the Pastel steps. We've done a lot of stuff as a family, which is also very important, because they took some of that, like family economics, they've taken that out of schools. Right. But that's important. That's very, very important for kids. So, I mean, I just try to find the positive or the silver lining in everything that we've been doing.
Do you guys have a regular time you do with the Pastel steps?
I was trying to do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and like I think our time, family time I have on the schedule is 5 to 7. Okay. And sometimes they don't pan out that way, because like the last couple of days we've been doing yard work, because we didn't know what this was going to look or how long this was going to last. And then when they canceled everything, so I'm like, well, we need to create another space so that maybe somebody can go outside. Like, we're trying to think of all kind of spaces that can be. So, you know, we've been doing yard work for the last couple of days. And then, you know, depend on the weather, but at least try to do at least twice a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I might have to join you sometimes. I used to do that with Girl Trek.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since I've been out there. And I've definitely been seeing, like today, I've been seeing the families walking, the kids on the bikes, you know, which is good to see. And I'm sure they may have been out there before, but it just wasn't as visible.
Yes.
I'm excited. I think it's a good time for families. I think Corona, in some ways, was a godsend, because I think this world was just doing too much. It was doing too much. I think it was out of order. Families were out of order. No offense to anybody, but I just think that it's good to see what's happening with the family dynamic, if nothing else. And for most of them, I think it's nothing but good. When we get on the other side of Corona, we'll have stronger family units, which we know aids to the success of our kids. And
I definitely agree.
I agree as well.
Yeah, so it's like I said, I'm excited about what I'm seeing. Is it bad? Yes. I mean, even for me, I feel like it's a good life break where I, you know, can sit down, really focus on some of the things like this radio show that I've talked about, you know, for about a year doing. You know, so again, the purpose of the radio show, Digi Sis in the Digi World, is to give a voice to the issues, concerns, and celebrations of education technology, K through 12. Local, regional, and national. So I'll be having national guests on here eventually. But I'm going to stick with this thing right now. Next week, I hope to have 2 district level people on talking about the implementation of homeschooling within their districts. Then in 2 weeks, I'll be talking to teachers about their experiences, their challenges. So just keeping that dialogue going about homeschooling and within the Black family and the Black community. So that is it for the day. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Your time,
Thank
your
you.
stories, all that good
Thank
stuff. This will be posted to KUAW Radio FM station on Facebook. So tell your friends to check out the content and check out the previous shows as well. Thank you.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.